Hello everybody, welcome back to My Left Eye, where we talk about politics and socialist issues. We've had some recent developments in the situation in Gaza that I'm just going to go through, as well as a BBC verified video that concerns IDF's claims over tunnels and hostages. The latest news, though, is that an agreement appears to have been made to cease the conflict for 4 days while hostages are exchanged. This isn't a full ceasefire, as you can see there. It says a ceasefire has been delayed as well. There are still some issues to work through, but it says in this quote, "The negotiations for the release of our hostages are advancing and continuing constantly." That was a statement released by the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was announced last night that Israel and Hamas had reached a deal to exchange 50 of the hostages held in Gaza for a 4-day pause in fighting. The agreement will also see 150 Palestinian women and children held in Israeli jails released in an increase in humanitarian aid allowed into Gaza. However, as we're just going to see here as well, the United Nations say a 4-day pause is not enough time. The agency is currently hosting close to 1 million people in its shelters, a spokeswoman told the BBC. Tamara Al-Rifa says the agency needs to be able to go to the northern part of Gaza, an area that Israel has urged Gazans to leave for their own safety. It will be able to do so during the pause in fighting, quote, if the Israeli authorities give us security guarantees, end quote. It says further down there, 200 trucks carrying aid that will be allowed in each of the 4 days are very insufficient, given that around 500 trucks used to enter Gaza per day, so that's less than half. The 4 fuel tankers permitted to enter the deal will bring about half of what UNRWA needs to run its trucks, electricity generators, water pumping and desalination plants, and to provide fuel to hospitals and bakeries, she adds. So that's the latest in the situation. Let us know what you think about this upcoming 4-day pause. Do you agree with the United Nations as to whether that's sufficient enough? I don't think it is. Let's just take a quick look at this BBC verified video that I mentioned as well. So like I said, this will be concerning the IDF's claims about Hamas tunnels and hostages.
Israel's been under pressure to produce evidence for its claim that Al-Shifa hospital has a command centre beneath it. Hamas has always denied it, but now Israel says it's finding proof. The IDF says that these soldiers are at the entrance to a 55-metre long tunnel, 10 metres below the hospital. BBC Verify has geolocated the video to here, the northeast edge of the Al-Shifa hospital complex. We can see here what looks like a muzzle, which we think is the muzzle of a dog that the Israeli military lowered down into a tunnel with the camera. This is the footage they got back. As the camera moves along the tunnel, as you can see, it looks very similar to this Hamas tunnel, filmed by the BBC back in 2014.
I'd just like to come in there. I'm not sure if the BBC are implying that this is reused footage from 2014 or if they are just remarking on the fact that the design is very similar. So again, that's unclear at the moment. The IDF statements are the only things that people have to go from at the moment, and as we saw recently with the videos about weapons caches, there's some very spurious details in a lot of the videos and information that they've been putting out. It is obviously, it has been found in the past, a lot of it to be manufactured propaganda and not the actual truth of what's happening.
At the end of it is what the IDF says is a blast-proof door with a fire hole in it. Now, we've asked the IDF if they managed to get through the door yet, but haven't had an answer. The IDF has also released what they say is CCTV footage from Al-Shifa on October the 7th, showing hostages taken from southern Israel. You can see a person in blue shorts there who seems to be dragged in against his will. And then these three men we've circled have guns. The video then moves further inside the hospital where you can see an injured person on a trolley whose face has been blurred by the IDF. BBC Verify has established that the person we just saw being dragged in briefly appears in this bit of video too. You can see the same clothing there.
Now, the IDF have obviously been claiming that Hamas had headquarters in hospitals, and that's why they've said that they've been bombing the hospitals. However, Hamas have openly stated that they took injured hostages to hospital as well. It's just because the hostages were taken there doesn't necessarily mean that that's a Hamas headquarters, as the IDF has claimed about many of the hospitals, including Al-Shifa.
Now, the IDF says the two captives in the hospital footage are a Thai and a Nepalese national, and Thai and Nepalese citizens are reported to have been kidnapped from this kibbutz. We've analysed this CCTV footage, which purportedly shows the moment of the kidnapping just there. It's time-stamped around half an hour before the hospital footage on the 7th of October. In response, Hamas has said it's taken many hostages to receive treatment in hospitals. Now, we don't know where the two people we saw in that IDF video are, as Israelis hope desperately for a deal that would release all the hostages.
Yeah, and I'm certain that many Palestinians are hoping for their hostages in Israeli prisons to be released as well. So let us know what you think about these recent developments, about the 4-day pause, about the UN's response, and the contents of that BBC Verify video. And if you've got any other information, feel free to post it in the comments of this video. But that's just the latest development in the Gaza occupation. Wanted to keep you up to speed with that. And until next time, take care, everybody. See you soon.